Hello, everybody. Welcome to the finale of our Solarpunk Wickedness setting. My name is Patrick. We're going to get right back into introductions, so if you want to say who you are, who your character is, and our fun question of the week is, where would you most like to settle down in the world? Where would you want to travel, or plant roots, if you will. So, Danny, if we want to kick it off with you.
So, as a reminder, I'm Danny Merrill. My pronouns are she, her. My character is Lilac. Her pronouns are also she, her. And I would really, if I could have a home anywhere in the world, maybe not plant my roots, but like a dream, home destination, would definitely have to be Dublin, Ireland, which my dear friends here are not surprised of. But it's a culture I'm very fascinated by. So yeah.
Very nice, Sam. What about yourself?
Hi, I'm Sammy Overton. My pronouns are she, they. I'm playing Greta, and Greta uses they, she pronouns. And where I would like a home, is it a cop-out to say, I could just, spin a globe and, pick?
Ooh, no, that's not a cop-out at all. I love it.
Okay, that's my answer. I would like to spin a globe and pick.
Excellent. Good stuff. And my name is Patrick Connor Burke. I use he, they pronouns. My character Cammy uses she, they pronouns. And if I chose somewhere to live, Sam, you inspired me. I think I would just wander for a very long time. Yeah, backpacker sounds perfect right now. But if I had to land on one place, I don't know where in the world it would be, but I think it would be in a log cabin by a lake with a bookshelf and solitude. That sounds
cute.
But moving forward, we are going to get right back into the game. So this phase of the game is going to be our final one, what we've all been waiting for, building up to over the course of this series. So in Chapter 3, it runs pretty similarly to the past chapter, where we're going to be drawing challenges from the tarot deck. But this time, we get a special inclusion of abilities that we can take. So, the new ability that we have, in addition to committing a folly or solving the challenge with either true magic or wisdom, is that we have the ability to learn from the past. I'll read off this section really quick. So tell us how this challenge presents you with an opportunity to repeat one of your follies. How you realize, resist, and alter the pattern this time around, and what this change might mean moving forward. Then cross out that folly and recover a stricken but not blackened source. So, what this means is, we get to say, okay, one of these follies, I will never rely on this ever again. In addition to that, I'm going to recover something that I once lost, and it doesn't solve the challenge. You don't draw any wisdom cards, but you do regain a part of yourself and become stronger for it. We can all rely on that in the coming challenges.
And it doesn't solve it, right?
Does not solve it. So to solve a challenge, we still must use true magic or wisdom. This
does it count as your action?
Yep.
I want to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool.
So one extra tool in our toolbox. Use that if you so choose. We are going to head back to this all too familiar screen up here with our deck of challenges here. So what we have in front of us, this deck is made up of all of the wisdom cards that we used to solve challenges in the previous chapter. So the deck's a little shorter this time around. It's also a little stacked against us in the sense that the top card that I'm about to draw is the lowest value wisdom card that we use. So it's going to start at aces, and as we draw the card, it's going to get progressively higher to the pages, the kings, the queens. Activity is going to ramp up. A reminder. Shall we go around and remind everybody what challenge or what choice we were faced with last session that we all ended up turning down to stay together as a coven.
Yes.
So
I can start.
Great, yeah, please do.
I know Greta was offered sort of like the chance to go away and learn like the true depths of magic, and possibly reach into like untapped potential. But they would have to go away for an undetermined amount of time, and Greta ultimately turned it down because they didn't want to be away from their friends and family for that long.
My character, Tammy, was offered a marriage proposal by our reformed lumberjack, Franklin. And Cammy, with much difficulty, ended up turning it down so that she could carry on a life of adventure and mischief and spellcasting, but broke Franklin's heart and possibly their own in the process.
Broke mine.
Yeah.
Wow. My character Lilac was offered by our sheltered angel friend Calliope the secret to my own potential, or the secrets of my own potential, with a sacrifice as well, which would be to, I believe it was, well, leave my sanctuary for one thing, leave my my coven, and join some force that the underworld is controlling. So Lilac also disagreed and chose to turn down this offer.
So, with none of us falling into temptation at the promise of new power and ability, and choosing to stay with our current path, we head in to the next challenge. This one is the Ace of Pentacles. So this one is our High Priestess.
Okay. The capital is experiencing a food shortage, the kind which has historically led to accusations about blighted fields and soured water, worsen the kingdom's poverty and ignorance. What can we do to show our goodwill to the kingdom?
Okay, so we were, just before this, we were bragging about how well our kingdom is doing.
I know.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. So, first and foremost, we have to worsen its, what was it, poverty and ignorance?
And ignorant. Both?
Both. And. Okay. So, Sam, do you want to read off ignorance level 2?
Yes. One of the sanctuary's friends is being harassed daily. Who and why?
Who are you thinking?
Oh.
My first
thought is Loon. My awakened giant friend.
Yeah.
But I don't want him to be harassed daily. I don't want him to be harassed at all.
Maybe that's why it's a good choice.
I know.
So who and why?
Yeah, okay. So I think Loon is being harassed daily. And by who? I think that Loon is, it can be from anybody, right?
Yeah, certainly.
I think that Loon is being harassed by some like young kids from the industrial advocates.
Yeah.
And I think that they're like coming over and like, oh, they're like throwing stuff at him.
Aw.
And Loon is such a gentle giant, and so he just kind of like sits there and takes it.
Oh no.
So we have to do something about this.
We have to. We really do. But we also have to do something about our rising poverty. So you read off poverty number one. Excuse me.
Yes. Who is out of a job? Pick one. Artists, farmers, small business owners.
Oh, I mean,
I think I'm gonna go for small business.
For sure.
our farmers still have a job. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think the effects of that whole issue with Greta and the tavern owner, I think that Greta might have fixed things with the tavern owner, but maybe not so much with other small businesses. Yeah. And so there's still that issue of like people seeing something and them going, oh, I can just make that myself. So why, that's why. That's what we're going to go with. Oh, I'm so sorry, small business owners. I have so much respect for you. I promise.
So, how are we going to solve this challenge, everyone? Blighted fields, food shortage, soured water. What can we do to show our goodwill to the kingdom? Interesting.
I don't think it's a good idea for Lilac to bring any kind of a food that she touches to anybody in the community. If it's got veggies, it's just gonna die. It's not gonna be good. Don't we have like a pretty well-oiled system of we have like our own generated ecosystem within our sanctuary, don't we?
Yeah, we have a pretty self-sustaining garden system with our solar panels. We have a garden, and I think that we are probably fairly exempt from this, but I'm not sure that this is enough to feed the whole country.
Yeah. Right. I mean,
how it would be
only, what is this, a coins challenge, right?
Yeah.
So I think it would take 6 because poverty adds 1 before you triple it.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, a total of 6 wisdom.
I feel like I should save it for bigger, but this is important.
Yeah. The alternative is using true magic on it, which or letting it deal with itself.
I could do.
Yeah.
I could do true magic.
Okay. Lilac, are you thinking about volleying or looking back to the past?
Probably volleying right now, I think. Yeah. I don't think there's a lot here that she could look on and take from, in this particular situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think honestly, she could probably over rely on a clever loophole that doesn't work that way. And I think she'll just try her best to bring her own like rations and things like that to the people of the community in the country. And she, tries to wear gloves and things like that. But it doesn't work that way. I mean, then you've got all these conflicts. Well, first of all, are you going to give away all of your food and stuff like that? And then second of all, you're creating a huge demand probably from the community.
Yeah.
So probably someone like Greta or Cami stopped her and was like, before this gets out of hand, you can't keep doing that. Like, that's just not a good idea.
So for that, you're going to get the Ace of Swords.
Ace of Swords. Woohoo!
I am thinking. I think I'm going to actually look to the past here.
Ooh.
I have an impulse to raise tensions with our coven and another party. The townspeople believe us to be the cause of this blight, and I'm so sick of dealing with their constant shreds of, bigotry towards us and just automatically assuming that we are the only troublesome people in this neck of the woods. And yeah, every single time it seems to be their attention is diverted towards us, and they've never shown us any smidgen of respect for all of the problems that we have solved for them.
Yes, very true.
Which has been numerous and plentiful. But I stop myself, and I think a part of me thinks about the damage that I would do, about how I would just be proving them right by going and hurting them and giving them all the more reason to. And I'm going. I have to strike that folly. So I will never again raise tensions with the coven and another party. And in exchange, I get to recover a stricken source, and the only source that I just have stricken is illustrious. So I I think to sort of explain this away, I think I just have a little bit less hate for other people after this, and my skin starts to glow a little bit more. I don't spend so much of my energy just being bratty and kind of miserable towards other people. Right. I just try to leave this place better than where I found it. I'm once again illustrious.
Oh, Greta's like, you're learning. Yay, Cammy! Greta is so proud.
Oh, I think Cammy's proud of herself too. In this moment, she's like, "Dang, okay, I think I made the right choice here."
Oh, stop it! Oh no! Oh, this is off to a sweet start.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, now it's me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am going to solve this with true magic. And I think that Greta is feeling inspired to step up and really take charge of this, especially after seeing Cammy kind of change their ways.
Mm-hmm.
And being look, yes, this is amazing. You are seeing that there are different ways to handle these things. And so Greta is going to use true magic, and they are going to, I think in the past, because I think that, they've lived long enough that they've seen kind of food shortage happen before. And I think that they've learned from previous witches, the strength that like this like solution will take, but that like it's worth it. And so I think that Greta is going to cast like a really big sort of like protection spell over like the rivers and over like the fields where like, like all the gardens and stuff where they're planting stuff. And I think that kind of manifests in like animal spirits, kind of like, there's always some sort of animal spirit hanging by the rivers and hanging out by like the gardens and in the fields. And I think not only will it deter, that's the word I'm looking for. Like if somebody was like messing with our stuff on purpose, it would deter them from messing with it any further. But it also like is protecting the land so that it can continue to grow. Yeah, so it's a big protection spell, and that's what they're going to use. And in exchange, I am going to my source that I'm going to like cross out is Lacey.
Ooh.
Or no, yes. I'm going to cross out Lacey.
More Lacey. So on the surface, you are depleted and wiser than us.
Yep.
All right. Our next challenge is going to be the Two of Pentacles.
The Coven's finances have been out of balance for some time, and we must finally decide what to sacrifice. Everyone who has a wisdom card must discard one due to worry. Perhaps we've been too generous or too self-indulgent, or we've spent too much attention on our personal projects, not enough on productive labor. Every covenmate must admit one way in which they are responsible for our shortfall, and then we can ask ourselves, how do we pay off our debts?
Taking away my wisdom cards.
I know. I'm gonna discard a 3 of coins. So actually, it just went Ace of coins, 2 of coins, and now 3 of coins here.
Oh my gosh.
Hey. I'm gonna get rid of Ace of Cups.
Yeah.
I'm going to get rid of the 3 of Cups.
How have each of us been responsible for this financial shortcoming?
Okay, I think Lilac has just been online shopping. I mean, like, I think that there's definitely a ton of like Fervor Express packages just like en route to the sanctuary, and it's just nothing but the most ridiculous stuff. Because as soon as Lilac sees, oh, I have some sort of I don't know, like income in any way, shape, or form, it doesn't matter, even from odd jobs, then I think it's 100% going to be like, well, if I have the money, I'm gonna spend it. Yeah. So I think that there's just like a ton of cool shoes and like weird looking knickknacks and stuff like that. And she's like, I guess I have these now. I don't know, it's all a blur. I just went on, I saw the options and I just
amazing. I think that Cammie has been also buying a lot of knickknacks, but I think after Frank stopped being a lumberjack, he still had to make income somehow, and he started a like small wood carving business where he essentially like whittles like wooden sculptures and things of that nature from like driftwood.
Frank is whittling little guys.
Frank is whittling his little guys, and I think that Cammie has been sending. She's been like paying neighborhood kids to go in and buy like 3 at a time. So she doesn't want to go in herself, but they'll like pay all of these like neighborhood kids to go and collect them and bring them back for her, and then she like always tips the neighborhood kids like probably too much, and so she just has like this shelf dedicated to all of these like little woodworking knickknacks and stuff, and they're all things that like little children pick out. So it's not like these nice elaborate statues. It's like a wooden duck and like a little bunny rabbit, and they all just hang out in their room. And so, but Cammy's been spending frankly too much money on this like guilt purchases.
Amazing.
Yeah. What's good?
I think Greta thinks money is fake.
Yeah.
No. It's certainly not something she's been quiet about. And so I think that if somebody was like came to them and was like, Greta, like, can you please help me? She'd be like, sure, I don't need it. Like, what's it for?
Perfect.
Like honestly, good. Get it away from me. I think this is dumb. So, and I feel like that's how they've always been, but I think it's with like all 3 of us doing it at the same time. It just like is too
Piles
much.
up.
It's piles up.
Yeah.
So how do we pay off our debts?
Oh gosh. Is this all individually here?
So we don't have to. The challenge isn't to like revoke or stop the payments that we've been making. It's to sort of supplement that income somehow. So.
Right. So I mean, I think like. I think someone puts, you know what? I think for Lilac, I think she's going to ask Jem to teach her how to tattoo people.
Ooh.
And then she's going to try to like give people tattoos, but it doesn't work out very well because she sucks. She's so bad at it and she gets things so wrong that people are just like throwing shade all over the place. But eventually Jem is like, okay, hold the phone. I have a task for you. You can clean all of my equipment and just do that in and out. And since Jem and Lilac are just best friends, I think there's just, Jem is just brave enough to be like, no, you're not going anywhere and you're not going to the shop. You're going to stay here and you're going to work. You're going to work for your earnings. And Lilac, as simple as that, you know, Lilac is like, oh, fine, whatever. Okay, Jem. And then just works everything off that she can because Jem understands you're in some trouble. Work.
So do you solve it with wisdom then, or that's what it seems gets?
Yeah, I know. I'm volleying.
You're gonna volley, cool.
I'm gonna volley. Also, sorry if you can hear my dogs barking.
They're perfect.
This is two of Pentacles.
Yeah, so it's gonna take, because we're in poverty level 1, so it's gonna take 9 to solve. So
I'll solve it with wisdom.
You're gonna solve it with wisdom? Cool. Okay. Excellent. Good stuff. Good stuff. What are you gonna turn in?
The 9 of Swords.
Perfect. Yeah, that works. How does Greta volley then?
Greta is going to ignore the looming consequences of inaction.
Perfect.
So habitual.
And I think they're like, money's not real, so why is owing money real? That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And they're just not gonna they're not gonna do anything about it.
Yeah, for sure.
They're gonna be like, I have more important things to worry about.
You're going to get a 2 of swords for that one.
Gotcha.
I think that Cammy. What does Cammy want to do in this situation? I think I'm going to give into my ego and come out wounded. I think that for a little bit, the country is still sort of dealing with the consequences of this blight. And while the rivers and the fields are protected now, the damage has still been done. That this season's crops are kind of unable to be recovered.
Yeah.
And so I start to use a lot of my travel magic to kick up my speed up a notch. I start to like run and like transport myself to nearby towns to do a lot of what is essentially like delivery jobs that I am going back and forth throughout, and what I wish to happen is for me to like earn a steady income through this source, but I tend to like end up like feeling a little bit heartbroken that like we couldn't do more for these fields and rivers, and I end up just like granting the people their goods without like taking some off the top for my delivery services, and I sort of settle into to that life of just like doing this charitably, and this is just like my 9 to 5 that I'm volunteering for.
Gosh.
And for that, Tammy's gonna get a little wiser. In fact, a 4 of Cups amount wiser. Nice.
It's getting bigger.
So our next challenge is the 4 of Coins. This is literally just coins after coins after coins after coins.
Yeah, coins after coins after coins.
So, an official from the kingdom's treasury believes that the coven is withholding taxable income from the crown. The pure heart will give the official a name and a detail under the kingdom's leaders, and the old soul will tell us what raised their suspicions. They've been snooping around our sanctuary and asking impertinent questions of our friends. How can we restore our good standing, or at least put an end to this distraction?
Boy.
So, Lilac, what are you thinking in terms of the name for this new tax collector?
Cool. Let's see here. I'm gonna say genus.
Genus. Ooh.
Like GNUS. Like a species.
Ooh,
type.
Yeah.
I don't know why that name is speaking to me right now, but it is.
I love it.
I love it.
Okay. Genus. The
And then
tax collector.
I think Lilac calls him Gene to make him angry,
Ooh.
to annoy
You're on a
him.
first name basis with Gene?
No, and that's like not at all. And a detail.
Yes.
I think genus is very logical. Very, very logical. But only runs under his own logic. Sticks to it, so it's consistent, but it's still just his own logic.
And Greta, what raised Genus's suspicions?
Well, I think that given our recent, situations over the past like month or so, in the fact that like we've had a food shortage, and then we've solved this, like we had the food shortage, and then we were in debt, and now we're suddenly not in debt anymore. And like I think they're also hearing that like Greta's giving away money because like if somebody needs it because they don't want it.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, like you had all of these things go wrong. Like, how do you all of a sudden like have money again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay. So how do we go about restoring our good standing, or at least putting an end to this distraction?
How much wisdom would it be?
I believe it's 15. Yeah.
Never mind.
Ooh, too rich for my blood. Yeah. Danny!
Can I folly in a very specific way?
Yeah, go for it.
I don't know why I'm asking you, but I'm asking you. I'm gonna slip up and spill a secret that wasn't mine to say.
Which secret?
I love this folly. I hope I never learn from it. Can I spill a secret of Greta's?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna ask you, I'm just gonna do it. Okay, here's how it happened. So I think that my guy Gene is coming to Snoop once again as this sort of like regular round that he's got going on all of a sudden, you know, like this recent routine, and is quite literally walking up the pathway to our sanctuary. And so I believe that I'm walking out and I see him and I just kind of walk with him and ask really annoying questions over and over because I think maybe this will make him leave. And then we start to kind of develop a distinct kind of conversation that involves a lot of sarcasm, I think, on his end. But anyway, so I think honestly, there's a moment where I get maybe a little frustrated and he's asking about finances and he's like, this is a young person, I can get something out of her. And I'm just like, you know, I think he's asking me about Greta and so she is talking to Jean, and all of a sudden Jean says, what about Greta, your little pod leader? What about them? What have they got going on up their sleeves? How much coin do they have up their sleeves? And Lilac says, what are you talking about? There's no coin up their sleeves. They're not a coin person anyway. And then Jean says, well, they're pretty elusive and mysterious. I mean, there's got to be a lot of dark secrets unveiled and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And Lilac is just like, dark secrets? There's nothing wrong with Greta. The only thing I could possibly think of that would be wrong with Greta is the fact that, you know, they've got this underworld menace that keeps coming back time and time again to bother them all the time. And trust me, let me tell you what it does to them. It just keeps on stealing all this stuff and it's just bothering them. And it just turns out that this past is a lot more extensive than we thought. And then they're discovering all these really cool magic secrets that we didn't really know existed. We don't know if the leader of the kingdom knows existed.
Oh, Lilac.
There's nothing wrong with them. They're great.
Oh,
That's why we call them Great Greta.
Incredible.
That's how she follies.
I love that. You, in exchange, get the 5 of Swords. I can solve this if you'd like to.
oh, perfect.
Okay.
I think I am going to look back at the past.
Learn from the past, I think it is. Yeah.
Learn from the past. And I think that I had an idea and then I lost it and I don't know what I'm going to do now. Wait, maybe I've got it. I think that Greta's sort of like first instinct is to do nothing.
Yeah.
Just because it's again, like we've been through this. They think this is a little silly.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're kind of like, okay, I need to look at what's happening and realize that, like many things, if I ignore this, it's not going away.
Yeah.
It's clearly not going away. We just saw it happen with the money. It's not going away. And so yeah, so I think that they are going to the folly that I'm gonna cross out is actually ignore your coven mates, please, in order to teach them. Actually, no, hello. The folly that I'm going to cross out is ignore the looming consequences of inaction. And so I think that Greta is going to like pull everyone together and be like, okay, we're going to need to do something about this. So like, let's talk about how we can solve this.
Right.
And I believe I get something back.
Yeah, you get to recover a stricken source.
I get to recover a stricken source. And the source that I am going to recover is have hope for the future.
Amazing.
She's like, you know, life is mean and cruel, but if I've learned anything, it's that we have each other, and with each other we're strong enough to do something.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna cry. I'm going to cry. Thank you much.
So
you're welcome. Honestly, you're
so
welcome.
True. Hey, thank you. So I think that the way I'm gonna solve this, I think I've been taking a lot of pages out of Greta's book lately. I've always sort of had that that disdain towards people who care about money, but up until recently, I have been one of those people, and I think some of that that like malice is gone a little bit, and I've become a bit more in tune with who I am, but also admitted to myself like I don't actually care about money either, and so what I do is I look at the tax collector, and I place a curse on him, so that using my travel magic, the next time that he tries to the next time that he sets his sights on our sanctuary and attempts to walk towards it, he will find himself in a perpetually never-ending loop, so that he will always be like stuck in the same place as long as his intention is walking towards our sanctuary. And so he can walk near it, he can walk around it, he could even walk like to it if that was never his intention to land there. But he can never like travel to find his way to our sanctuary. And it doesn't solve our tax problems necessarily, but they literally can't come knocking on our door anymore.
Yeah.
Wow. So it does pretty much solve our tax problem.
Yeah, right?
Greta goes in for a high five. They're like, nice one.
Oh, just like a little 3-5. That's cute.
Wait, we gotta do this. Ready? One,
two, three.
Aw, cute. And I'm gonna strike. Oh, I have to strike a source now. I think that on the surface, I am no longer infallible. I think that Cammy has come to recognize a lot of their own problems and the things that they need to work on. And I think infallibility isn't the image of a perfect person in Cammy's eyes anymore. Infallibility looks like somebody who believes they can do no wrong. And Cammy once again recognizes that about themselves, and sees a path towards a better person, but a path that she is like partially on the way of. Yeah, so she is fallible now. Big old smiles everywhere. Oh. Our next challenge is going to be, oh my god, the
More coins.
The 7 of coins.
Ugh.
It's me.
Another one for Danny.
We have all been busy lately with vital pursuits and our personal troubles, but that's no excuse for neglect. The sanctuary's usual lack of tidiness has slipped out of control and become a literal disaster. We'll each say which aspect of the mess we find the most appalling, inconvenient, or dangerous. To solve this challenge, we must clear away all 3. But how, given that this mess fights back?
Terrifying.
Oh my goodness.
I have an idea that might have some strong consequences.
Yeah.
I think that the menace that has been haunting Lilac has recently grown in power for whatever reason. Maybe it's like done some sort of respectful deed in like some other district that we were unaware of, and has risen to power in the Miraculous Weeds sort of forces and gained power that way. And so with their continued interest in Lilac, they now instead of simply causing vegetables to decay, now vegetables that you touch become ravenous and animated and deadly in a sort. So like you touch a tree and it becomes like this large gnarled force that uproots itself in an attempt to attack. And so I think we recognized that like fairly quickly that this is an issue, but like you'll somewhat haphazardly like touch one of my succulents or something like while you're just like meandering around my room, and it'll like start bouncing around and just like smashing into like the walls and the desks and stuff like that. And yeah.
So is this appalling or dangerous?
I think it's probably dangerous.
Dangerous. Yeah, pretty inconvenient too, I'd say. Yeah.
Wow, triple threat.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, I was actually going to say that I think with our wonderful ghost friend at the piano, I think that they've started like spawning like little ghost musician babies, and it's like really annoying because they're up practicing all night long. Like there's this little orchestra or symphony or jazz band of ghost musicians like just all over the place. Yeah. And I think that it's really annoying to people when we're trying to sleep at night and stuff. And it's just the most inconvenient possible thing. And I don't think they're harmless. I mean, I don't think that they are harmful. Mm-hmm. I think that they're just super inconvenient and they're just constantly practicing wherever our ghost goes. And it's like at a certain point, you're like, all right, okay, this is enough.
That's
like I can only listen to the Barney theme song so many times until I go insane. I can't do it.
nightmarish.
Yeah.
I think that things are just also just like messy around the place. And I think that there's a lot of clutter.
Mhm.
I think that all three of us tend to collect things that we find and think are interesting. And we've been doing that for so long that we're getting to the point of like, we'll get something new and then we'll be like, I'll find a space for it later. And then you bring something else home and you're like, I'll find a space for those two things later. And especially with Cammie sending out kids to go pick up Franklin's little knickknacks. Like at this point, there's too many of them. There's too many little whittled guys. There's too many express packages for Lilac. And there's nowhere. There's just a lot of like. There's just too much stuff all over the place. It's hard to get around. It's too cluttered.
Incredible.
How the heck we clear these things away?
I'm following.
Okay. How do you want to follow?
Greta is going to ignore their covenmate's pleas in order to teach them a life lesson. I imagine that Greta sees Cammie and Lilac like tripping over stuff and like ripping their hair out over the ghosts playing music and like screaming over these like plants coming to life. And Greta's like, deal with it on your own. Figure it out. You're gonna need to figure this mess out. I'm too old. I'm too tired for stupid stuff like this. Clean up.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna like go make some tea.
So true. You get the 9 of Cups. Really scaling up here. What's up, Lilac? What? Stop raising your hand, I swear to God.
I just had classes today. I'm gonna be too overwhelmed to focus on this right now. Hey! Lilac's got a lot going on.
Very cool. Okay, so I regret to inform Lilac that I think you're going to be absent for the final challenge because of this.
Oh my God.
Oops.
So you get a Page of Cups, as well as a Knight of Wands.
Ooh. Watch our last one be coins.
Ooh, perhaps.
Stop it.
Okay.
What is the page? How many wisdom is that?
The page is 11.
And the knight?
The Knight is 12. You know what Cammie's gonna do? More harm than good. I'm also going to volley. We're gonna fail this challenge. We haven't failed a single one. I think that we are just at this point.
We're not perfect.
I can't believe that like we've lost to like dirtiness.
Mm-hmm.
To like not being able to clean up.
Honestly, I think that's more true to life than losing to a big goblin or something. I'm gonna do more harm than good. I think that at first I'm like really annoyed by all of these baby ghosts playing on their baby pianos. And at one point I'm like, okay, wait, this one's actually like kind of good, but the rest suck. And I like start, I join in on, I think it's Faye, right? Faye is
Yep.
the ghost. Um,
Okay.
I'm like, okay, Faye, and one, and a two, and I like start to like conduct with them. I think I like pull out like a little bass, and I start to like we have like a little band where it's just like Cammy and the Ghosts.
Oh my god.
And Cammy's like, what? Am I gonna just stop buying Frank's whittling things? No, I'm gonna keep buying
No.
them. I'm gonna
Oh
make a
my
big
God.
totem and stack them all up on top of each other. And maybe I'll use it for firewood someday. You don't know.
So funny.
Oh my god.
Um, and I have no idea what to do with with the problem that I presented to Lilac of ravenous plants. Um,
Poor Lilac.
poor Lilac. Uh, but Cammy is going to draw the King of Cups in exchange for that one. And now we have to watch the kingdom sort of fall apart a little bit as we fail this challenge. So, since this is the first time, you all get a nice little explanation.
Yeah.
Um, so now that we failed, we have to each each choose how our failure presents consequences to the rest of the kingdom, ourselves, or the sanctuary. So mechanically, what that means is that we have to do one of the following things. So that can be removing a friend, wonder, or resource from our sanctuary,
Oof.
worsening the kingdom's ignorance or poverty or despair. And finally, we can also increase our own underworld claim by one. So we each have to do one of those 7 options.
Oh, okay.
And I think I know. What Cammy's gonna lose here. I think at one point, after Cammy has been buying all of these totems for these like small wooden carvings for several weeks now,
Mhm.
I find a note on my door with a like wooden carving of me, um, uh, and the note says, "I know that you've been buying all of these wooden carvings. One of the neighborhood kids told me it's too painful for us to continue this way, and I'd like you to stop. I can't keep making all of these carvings because whenever I do, I just see your face and know that you're going to receive them, and they're never good enough. So I hope that this one can be our last. Please don't contact me again. It's too hard for me. And I am going to have to strike Frank from the list of friends in the sanctuary."
Oh, it hurts. Oh, it hurts.
Not Franklin.
It
Franklin.
hurts so much.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I went into this chapter thinking like, okay, maybe I'll try to like go back to Frank, and now I'm just like, we have one challenge left. I don't think it's happening.
I don't think it's happening. Oh. Oh gosh.
Okay, well, let's see here.
I know. I'm like, God. Wow.
I'm gonna worsen the claim
Ooh,
that the
yeah.
underworld has.
Yeah. Ooh, that's interesting.
What am I at?
I think you're at 1 now, honestly. Oh, no, you're at 2.
I'm at 2. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, 2 for the pure heart. You have learned what the underworld ruler desires and why. Write it below. From now on, add +1 card value to all wands challenges. Well, I have one more to see if that's the case, but okay. That's a lot right there that I just did to myself.
So what does the underworld ruler desire?
At the risk of sounding generic, I think I know.
Mm.
I think the underworld ruler desires many things,
Mm-hmm.
but and they come in close, children.
Mm-hmm.
But I think ultimately, the goal for weed, I think maybe the sanctuary thought it would be taking over fervor, just getting his claws, so to speak, into the nation and just completely ruling it over. However, I think we underestimated weed here. And I think that his ultimate desire is I think ascending to the highest form of magic / being for very distinct evil purposes.
So, is that like, are they trying to get to godhood?
Yeah, I think they're
no.
genuinely trying to get to godhood.
Okay.
Oh gosh. Oh, failing sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah. We avoided it for so long.
We tried really hard to avoid it. So remind me of some of the things that we can do.
Yeah.
We can remove a local joy.
Nope. So we can remove a friend, wonder, or resource from the sanctuary. We can worsen the kingdom's ignorance, poverty, or despair, or you can increase your own underworld claim.
Oh, okay. Okay. I think I'm gonna worsen the despair.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's where I got the idea for yeah. And I think that the joy that we lose is the joy that we lose is stray cats roaming the streets because our clutter and our mess is getting so disastrous to the point that it's affecting, outside of our little coven and more into the kingdom.
Yeah.
And I think that it's making it not as like free for like the cats to roam around, because when they go to do that, there's like shit all in the way because like we're not cleaning it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we lost
just a bunch of like floating flutes and like baritones and like little mini tiny invisible trombones that you trip over like a Lego.
Yeah. And there's so much noise And then you go to escape the noise, and there's an angry cactus trying to like stab you.
Oh man.
It's just so
It's
rough.
just the worst.
Dang it, Lilac, stop touching things.
Why was she grabbing a cactus in the first place? It's inherently
She
prickly.
grabbed me cactus in the first place.
Your guess is as good as mine. I like.
Ugh.
Okay. So, the final card left in our deck is the King of Wands.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I'm scared.
Which means we have to increase by 1.
One sec.
Given the underworld's claim,
Yes, yeah, because you just
what is that? 14?
Yeah, 14 times 3 is 42. Good luck. Okay. You get
Wait, so because our despair is at 1, that's 1.
Oh, so
Danny
it's 15.
also have to add 1, right?
Yeah, so it's 15, so that's 45.
Shoot.
If we solve it with wisdom. And we need wisdom right after this, too.
We'll need wisdom right after this.
Okay, well, see here. Oh my god. The ruler of the underworld has sent for me with the promise of protection, but for me only. The wild soul will tell me what the ruler wants with me. The old soul will warn me of what dangers lie in wait despite the promise of protection. If we solve this challenge with wisdom, I may recover a stricken source, but not a blackened one.
Okay. Well.
I wonder if it was at this point that we decided to tell me what their deepest, darkest desire was.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is why you're physically absent for this challenge.
Oh my god, you're not here. Oh my god.
Yay!
Yippee. Okay, so I tell you what the wild spirit, what the ruler wants with you. Yeah, they're trying to ascend to godhood. In their pursuit of godhood, they have pulled some strings and have once again sought connection with Calliope, and in some manner has blackmailed Calliope into forcing her tongue and telling Weed everything that she knows, and so what she offers up is your true potential, what the limits of that are, and Calliope reveals that you have the power to ascend to godhood, and the underworld ruler desires that knowledge.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. So, Greta, what dangers lie in wait?
Greta will tell you that not only is this like not only what awaits you is like a very scary future, but that like a life that is uncontrollable and a life that will haunt you until your very last like day alive. And regardless of this protection that the ruler is promising, first of all, you can't, what has, we done in the past that lets us know that we can trust their promise. And second of all, they can promise protection all they want, but sort of like diving into that sort of like extreme truths will lead you again to that like uncontrolled part of yourself. And that is a very scary part to have to deal with. And Greta will say that they don't think it will ever be worth it to sort of risk opening up that uncontrollable part of yourself.
So a lot for Lilac to think about. Real quick, I think Cammy is going to learn from the past. I would recommend for whoever else is not solving this challenge to do the same, given that there's no more cards from the deck to grab wisdom cards from. Cammy is going... she has the intention to do more harm than good. And to go down into the underworld and tell one of the first challenges that we ever had resulted in Cammy bounding up to the Miraculous Weeds doorstep and demanding that they keep their hands off of our sanctuary members. That's what happened when Gem was taken back in one of the first cards. And if that were the case here, then Cammy would do that in a heartbeat. But I think that Weed is doing this in a smart way. They aren't demanding or threatening Lilac to come down or kidnapping them. They're offering. And if Cammy were to step in right now and choose for Lilac, then that could have resounding consequences in the future. And Cammy is going to step back and allow Lilac to make this choice on her own. The only source that I can get back is infallible. So by choosing to let you have the potential to fail, I am once again infallible, I guess. So, who wants to go next?
Yeah. I think that Greta can give Lilac, all the advice that they can give her. But I think at the end of the day, this is Lilac's choice to make. And I think that is something that Greta understands. And I think in doing that, she's going to look back on learn from her past. And I think with all of the stuff that Greta went through with her underworld menace and with Castle, they know like how awful, like what like the potential to have power can do to someone. And that was a mistake that they made and they have to live with for the rest of their life. Um, and I think in a weird way, Greta again is like, I can warn you about this all I want, but this is still your choice to make, just like it was my choice all of those years ago. And so they're going to accept that they can't control what Lilac wants to do. Instead of either kind of saying like, you're going to learn something from this, or here's what you should do to be like good and on the right path. I think that it's like, I can say this, but this is your life and you're mature, and like whatever you do, I will still love you. And so in that, the folly that I'm going to get rid of is fail to empathize with the volatile emotions of your coven mates. And the source that I will get back is I see value in myself. Because I think that if Greta can look at Lilac and say, you are your own person and you can make your own choices and I will still love you for them, I too can make choices and I can have fuck ups, and I can make bad choices, but that doesn't mean that I'm not sort of like worthy of being respected. Yeah.
You're thinking, Lilac?
See, I'm not here for this challenge. Wow. I don't think I can solve this. I definitely can't with wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have to learn from my past.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be the same kind of mistake that another might think was a mistake. I think oh boy. Place your faith in the wrong hands.
Whoa. You're striking
Whose
that
hands
folly.
are wrong to me.
Oh.
Because how come it's only now at this point that I'm realizing I have this much potential? I didn't know that. I'm supposed to be learning, especially from Greta was supposed to be my high priestess and my mentor, and Cami. And why didn't I learn that I had more potential than this from either of you? You didn't tell me that. Kind of highly doubt that you wouldn't know. So I don't think I'm going to place my faith in your wrong hands anymore. I think I'm going to take the offer.
What source do you recover?
Yeah. So I think I'm going to recover my love for all things that grow.
Oof. That's kind of scary in this context.
Yeah.
Especially when one of the potential dangers that Greta warned me about was having a particularly uncontrollable life.
And you have the power to turn all that you touch into ravenous monsters. So we now enter the last phase of this game. The challenge deck has been drawn to depletion, and our fates are just waiting for the final tie of the bow. The finale. When the last challenge in the challenge deck is resolved, it's time for us to each flip the last cards in our inevitable fate. These challenges can only be solved with wisdom, and only by the player who drew them. So, we will go over there now. Starting with Lilac. You have drawn the Tower. I have drawn Death. And Greta has drawn Judgment. So, whoever has drawn Judgment will go first to determine the fate of the kingdom.
Okay. Should I read it?
Please do.
The kingdom's leaders are finally coming to blows, fangs bared and claws bloodied. The player to my right will tell us what the final straw was, and the player to my left will tell us what horrors will befall the kingdom if I do not intervene. This challenge takes 20 wisdom to solve, plus another wisdom for each point of ignorance, poverty, and despair, plus another 10 wisdom if the kingdom is at war. If I solve the challenge with wisdom, I'll tell you how I save the kingdom and what its future holds. If I can't, doom comes to the mortal world.
I am on your right. The final straw was, of course, news that the underworld had gained a potential god candidate on their side. And all of the kingdom's leaders are at odds with one another on how to solve this, or whether they even can fight against a potential god. I think it's pretty fitting that Lilac tells us what horrors befall if you don't intervene.
If Greta does not intervene, I think it won't just be that each individual has a particular underworld menace that does so much harm. I think it's also that, I think that it may reach a point where the denizens and the menaces of the underworld are going to do everything they can to consume every bit of goodness and every bit of helpfulness and every bit of joy in each individual, so that that individual is completely consumed and gone. And it's just denizen wreaking havoc. There's no notion or motivation for good anymore once every single individual who's a part of our kingdom is gone.
So, we can tally up how much this can cost. We are at war, and the total number of aspects is 4. So this is going to cost 34 wisdom for Greta.
Um, I think that after Lilac left, I think Greta took that very hard. And I think that they didn't know what else to do besides sort of fall into their own studying. And because I think for them that that gives them a chance to, in a weird way, kind of like straighten up and like organize their mind. And I think that they need a lot of that to kind of deal with like Lilac being gone and like potentially something bad happening to her. And so I think that they study like a ton of magic, like up until like, you know, like for as long as they can kind of like hold off this from like really like ending. And I think that in the midst of all of this chaos and war, they are going to sneak down into the underworld. Should I pause for my dog barking? Is it that loud?
It's a little loud. But...
Should we pause? Or
it sounds like they stopped.
Okay. Greta is going to sneak down into the underworld, and they're going to meet up with Castle. And I think that they kind of don't really know how to communicate just yet, but they figure out a plan, and they come to like their own agreement, and I think that they're on better terms after Greta, you know, gave what Castle was originally supposed to have back to them. And Castle, I think, has a lot of their own sort of like untapped potential, or sort of like they have a lot of strong abilities that they're just not using. And so through this, I think that Castle is able to sort of sneak up the ranks. I think that Castle is already pretty high because of, I think that Greta is an important figure in the kingdom. And so to be Greta's sort of menace and to have the powers that Greta's menace has, I think that Castle is already like high up in the underworld. And so I think that they are sort of calming things in the underworld, and simultaneously Greta is in the kingdom and talking through how, you know, we can come to an agreement. And they're saying the same things, just like but like to make their side seem better. So when they ultimately get together, like when both sides come together, it can put a stop on the war, because you have two very respected figures coming up and saying, nobody wants this anymore, so here's how we can solve this before we're both ruined. And I think there's a good mix on both sides of being like, this is what, like, we will fail. Like both sides going, we will lose.
Yeah, like mutually
And
assured destruction.
yes, exactly. And so I think ultimately we are able to come to a settlement. And I think things are not perfect. And I think that we're still in the midst of working things out. And I think a lot of it still rests on whether Lilac is coming back or not. But things have settled enough that there isn't like an active war happening, and that we've moved to like, here's how we can officially settle this. Let's talk about it. Yeah. And I think that Greta and Castle are both in those big conversations.
For sure.
I don't think, and I think that they're still working together to like make sure that like these connections are happening. But I don't think anybody else knows that. And I'm gonna solve this.
Amazing.
34, right?
Yes.
Okay, I can't do math, so I just like throw.
I'll believe you. Yeah.
Okay, so I will give you the King of Swords, which is 13. I will give you the Eight of Wands,
21.
which is
just keep throwing them. Yeah.
Seven of Swords. Seven of Cups.
Okay, that's 35 right there.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well done.
And so things are things for the future of the kingdom. Things are unsteady, but hopeful. And I think the last thing anyone wants is to go back to war, because neither side is stronger than the other.
For sure.
And so uneasy, but with a goal for peace and growth, like collectively.
Very nice. Next, whoever's drawn Death will go second, which is myself. The underworld is out of balance, its denizens amok, and its menace bubbling up into the mortal world above. I must travel there and set things right. The player to my left will tell us how the barrier between worlds has changed, and the player to my right will tell us what surprise the ruler of that place has in store for me. So Greta, you're to my right. You're to my left. Excuse me. How has the barrier changed?
I think that I feel like a lot of this is resting on the fact that Lilac left to the underworld, and I think in Lilac going to the underworld, I think Lilac learned. I think Lilac has definitely learned like new magic and has definitely like tapped into some new stuff in the underworld. And I think one of those things is that she has sort of accidentally broken that barrier. And so just in like way of practice or something, and like accidentally struck it, and it weakened the barrier, and so now it's so much easier to cross over. And I don't think that anybody knew what it was at first.
Yeah.
And so you had a lot of people figuring it out just purely by accident. And then it's sort of like the secret was like spreading amongst people who were like, oh, hey, like we could sneak up to the mortal world. Like, let's go do it and like let's go fuck around. And so it's sort of like a secret happening amongst the underworld that like you can sneak out now.
Okay. Lilac, what surprise does the ruler have in store for me?
I think your closest friend, confidant, and potentially closer than friend, Miranda, all that time she was absent, I think that she might have been influenced in some way. And a lot of the reason why there is so much information, I think the reason why we knew who Calliope was in the first place is because of Miranda. I think Miranda has become a serious confidant and has purposefully betrayed your trust in every possible way. And is probably Weed's like first army lieutenant.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody's betraying me. Uh, okay, so this challenge takes 20 to solve plus 5 for every source that I've struck or blackened. Which only adds up to 25. So, if I solve this challenge with wisdom, I'll tell you how I restore the natural order once and for all, and whether I return unscathed. Huh. Obviously the underworld is running amok because of this new power imbalance. It's I think that Castle has sort of created this new wave of underworld mindset in a very similar way to the way that Greta sort of upheaved the civilization's whole concept of how the society should run. Castle is doing the same in the underworld currently, and there is now almost two competing forces down there of those who are following this new this new path to glory that Lilac is promising with this undeniable power that she wields versus that which Castle is describing of like, no, what we have is good, and like we will perish if we try to face not only the civilization but like Greta and Cammy still lie on that other side. Like, it's not they have their own nukes, you know.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's so destructive down there, and I'm not even trying to stop it, but I'm just so scared for Lilac. And I think I definitely feel like personally responsible to like I knowingly made the choice to allow Lilac to go down there, but ultimately the reason why she went down is because she thought that Greta and I were lying to Lilac, and I think that I like fiercely need to make it clear that that wasn't the case. But when I go down there and I go to the steps of your like new throne, I say like none of this is true. Like Greta and I never knew. If we did, we would have told you in a heartbeat. And Miranda appears out of the shadows and says, "Oh, more lies." And Miranda, in being this confidant, is also telling Lilac like Cammy knew this for years. Why do you think that she kept you under her wing? Why do you think that they kept you around despite being... I think that Miranda is also, like, definitely gaslighting Lilac and saying, like, hey, you were... Before you knew that you had the potential for godhood, you were obnoxious, you were corrupting everything that you touched, you were spreading all of their secrets. The only reason they would keep you around is because you had all of this power lying in wait. And Cammy is fiercely denying all of this, and saying like none of this was ever true, that Miranda is spreading all of these lies now. And for a little bit, it looks like it's one against the other. And it's essentially a she said, she said. And Cammy approaches Lilac, and I take your face in my hand, and just with my thumb, I trace over the scar of the underworld that I healed so many years ago now at this point. I just say, Lilac, we loved you for who you were, not because whatever potential you might have. Don't throw away the past, however many years, because of this woman that you've hated since the day you met her. Come back with me, please. I am going to turn in. I have a king here. I have plenty of wisdom to solve this. I have a queen and a knight and a page, and I turn them all in and more to solve this. And I offer that up to Lilac. So, if you would like, you can respond now, or we can see what your inevitable fate is that lies in wait.
Lilac accepts.
Okay.
She looks at Miranda and thinks about throwing a spitball at her, but she doesn't. She doesn't do it. And she goes back with Cammy.
What a relief.
However, now, Lilac has some questions
Oh.
that she wants answered truthfully.
Mm-hmm.
So, as the receiver of the Tower card, can I now reveal my questions?
Ask away.
4 questions. I'll read all of them, and then they could be answered. Both of you answer me truthfully. Will we live together in the sanctuary forever?
For Cammy, yes.
For Greta, I think she will pull you into a really big hug, really tight hug, and like a really long hug. And she will say, will we live together in the sanctuary? Yes. But forever? And she's going to gesture to her face, withered with age, and say, no, my darling, not forever.
do we have anything left to teach each other?
I have taught you all that I can. But I think that I can still learn something from you. I will.
I think that you never cease to surprise me. And I can always learn something new from a surprise. So yes.
Is there more left to our story?
Cammy will make sure of it, one way or another. So yes.
I'll laugh and say, I hope not.
Do you love me?
Yeah, of course.
I think that I was gonna take Lilac's hand, say, if I didn't love you, I wouldn't have let you leave.
Well, for each no from either of you, this challenge takes 5 wisdom to solve. If I solve this challenge, I'll tell you how the sanctuary continues on with or without us, and how our wisdom and magic passes on to its new coven. If I can't, the sanctuary will lie empty and all knowledge of our art is lost. We, the players, should separate and sit in silence. Either way, the game is complete. It's 2 no's. So it's 10 wisdom to solve, which I have. Thank goodness. So I will give over the Knight of Pentacles. And so therefore, I think the sanctuary will always continue on. I don't think it'll continue on with Lilac, but not due to being lost to the underworld. I think Lilac is going to travel. And I think she's going to do everything she can to find out how she can put her newfound potential to good use. At the risk of speaking for my coven mates, I do not believe that Greta is going to remain in the sanctuary. I think that now that there's hope for the future that Greta has found, especially when it comes to her coven mates, I think that now that they're, for lack of a better term, going to do just fine, there's still more out there that can be helped. And I think Cammy's always going to get into trouble, but I think that all of us are probably going to watch over the sanctuary no matter what, whether or not we're there. And keep a watchful eye. As for our undying wisdom and heavy magic, I I think that there's always going to be a distinct call. Anyone who continues on in our specific coven is going to be able to call upon us with in a very distinct way. I'm not quite sure what that is yet, but it's going to be a very distinct kind of call. And anytime they do so, they'll be able to reach us in some way. We'll show up, or we'll, they'll hear our voices. And there's always something that we learned about the coven itself by being in it that a lot of people, a lot of coven mates may want our knowledge in. As for our magic, I think that's a whole different story. I think our magic is very personal and distinct to us. So I don't think our magic is going to continue on specifically in the sanctuary. I don't think it can. It's going to be new magic now, and it's going to be up to the new coven mates, not us. And there's always going to be new challenges, new adventures and things. And we'll keep a watchful eye, because that's where we discovered that we can still have hope for the future, all of us. But it's not going to continue without us, or with us, tangibly for the most part. But it will continue.
And with that, the game is complete, everybody. So I want to thank both of you for joining me. I want to thank everybody for watching through this thrilling conclusion. Is there anything that either of you want to say to the audience as a final goodbye?
Yeah. The best thing about this kind of journey and this kind of adventure is that in parallel, we're going through the same kind of adventure. In the sense that it's just very unknown. And have fun with it.
Yeah, this was such a wild, crazy ride.
Oh, yeah.
And it really is so cool to experience such heartbreaking situations and such heartwarming situations, and to get to experience that with you two and with those watching is just thanks for coming along this crazy journey with us.
So delightful. This has been the epitome of fun to get to do this with the two of you and everybody watching. Thank you again, and we'll say our final goodbye. Until next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.